Hey everyone, welcome back to the Dental Momentum Podcast powered by Duckett Ladd CPAs and Advisors. Jared Duckett back at you with my business partner Bill Ladd. And guys, we got another special treat for you today. We have got Dr. Nathan Ho with us. Been following this guy for quite some time, to believe it or not, and just been following everything that he's doing, and finally got connected up with him really couple weeks ago through the Dental Win-Win group, Facebook group he's got. But just a brief intro here, Dr. Nathan Ho, dental practice owner at Affinity Smiles Dental in Roanoke, Texas. But then also he is the CEO of EnvisionStars, an online reputation and referral software company that helps business owners attract more new customers, clients, or patients and grow their business without having to spend more money on marketing. So Dr. Ho, appreciate your time joining us.
Thank you so much for having me on your podcast. I'm super excited for today's discussion.
Definitely. Well, I want to send a thank you back to you for letting us hop on the Dental Win-Win group the other day and, talk about the PPP loans and the questions people had. But you've got a great group there. And really today, we just want to kind of dive in and talk a little bit about yourself and share some info with our audience, and also talk about kind of the EnvisionStars that we talked about in the intro. So just lead us off a little bit, Dr. Ho. Kind of tell us your story. Just give us a background kind of on where you came from and how you got really to where you are today.
All right. So thank you for the opportunity. And for my story, let me go back all the way back. Okay, I came from Vietnam. My family was extremely poor. Came to the U.S. when I was 12 years old, and I'm the only one in my family that had gone to college and to dental school. And after dental school, most of my classmates they went out and had an associate job with another dentist. I went out and bought a small practice with a classmate right after graduation. And 3 months after that, we started a second practice. And we did all that because basically we didn't know what we didn't know, right? So during the first 2 years, we actually were struggling. We were often broke and in debt. So we had to work outside to pay for our living expenses while trying to grow those two practices until we figured out our marketing strategies to grow the first practice. And then we also worked with Dr. Abernathy, Michael Abernathy, for the second practice. And both of those practices grew a lot, and we were able to pay off all of our debts and became debt free after that. But I remember during those first 2 years, every patient that came in was the lifeline of our business. And one time we had a patient on the schedule that I was so excited to see, because she was the only one on the schedule. Okay. And of course we had overhead to pay our team and rent and all. So I was so excited. And then 15 minutes before her appointment, she called and canceled. I was so disappointed. Later, I found out that she was on her way, but then she went on Google to look for directions and read one of our nasty review that left by another patient, and she didn't feel comfortable, so she canceled. So after that, I focused on getting a lot of reviews and focus on the reputation marketing that doesn't cost a lot of money, because we didn't have a lot of money. And after that, our office just grew a lot, and I also learned a lot from Dr. Michael Abernathy. So I'm excited to be here to share some of those strategies with your audience.
And we'll certainly jump into marketing, but I think we got to scratch the record and rewind here now. Just to reiterate, you bought a practice right after graduation. Did I understand that? Did I get that right?
That's right. As a matter of fact, I was going to buy a practice before I graduated from dental school, a couple months before I graduated. So I did some intern in that practice, talked to a practice broker. And then that dentist, basically she didn't change her mind, but when I was there, most of the team members were quitting. And I thought to myself that if I were to take over this practice and most of the team members quit, then I would be in trouble because I wouldn't know what to do, right? So after that, I looked for another practice and found one and bought it with a classmate, and then started another one.
See, that to me is so fascinating, because every person, every dentist I talk to, and I'll say this for accountants too, nobody learns how to run a business in dental school. Nobody learns how to run a dentist in accounting, an accounting department. So, I mean, was that a terrifying prospect to you, or were you excited? I mean, when you look back, was that the right move? I mean, that is just such a fascinating move to make right out of school, that I want to kind of get in your mindset and understand, what drove you to jump and kind of take that leap just right off the bat.
You know what? One of my classmates right now, after being out for 10 years, he's still not ready to open a private practice, right? So we will never be ready or feel ready to get into any new venture at all. And as you know, I started a technology company, and that was new for me as well, right? But basically, we just jumped in, learned the game, and try to grow as we practice. Because you will never be ready. Jack Ma, other entrepreneur said, right? The best lesson to learn from is your failure. You do it by trial and error. We knew the dentistry because we went to dental school, knew how to do fillings, crowns. So our patients was safe. It's just that our business wasn't that safe. But I always thought that if other people can do it, we can too. If it took them 2 years to figure it out, then we work harder to figure it out less than 2 years. But it still took us 2 years to figure it out.
I think that story probably, sums up a lot of like your mindset, personality, your makeup, because a lot of dentists, like Bill has said, I mean, it might take them forever to buy a practice, and you're like, heck with it. Let's go. Let's jump in both feet and we'll figure this out as we fly. So that just means, I mean, you're probably, you got entrepreneur and dentist. You're probably, I mean, you're both for sure, but maybe more entrepreneurial mindset in general. Am I following you right?
Yes. I would say that. And it's not easy, because during that time, some of my classmates were having a normal job as a dentist. So they were making money. Some of them bought a brand new Corvette. Some of them bought a new house. I used the money to buy the first practice and struggle with that practice. So I was broke. I was driving old cars. I was living with my parents. Got married. Still didn't have a house. But after about 3-4 years, we made a lot of money, and we were able to pay off all our debts, personal and business debts, and became debt free. So I thought that was a good investment and great effort of investment to put into that new venture.
When you look at it, that is just such I would think you'd have to look back at that and say that was probably one of the most informative, valuable, real life learning experiences for you, is to have to struggle. It would have been so easy to find an associate's job, make good money, go out and lease that Corvette. We're gonna say lease. We probably won't say own. We'll say lease. Get the house on the country club and all that. You weren't afforded that luxury. You had to grind out patient by patient. That kind of instills some fire in you. I would have to think that has to have kind of molded who you became, as you really started to do well and started to have other entrepreneurial ventures. I would think that probably ended up being a good experience to grow from.
And you know what? You're right. What you just said was basically creating the foundation to build my dental business and other businesses on. Because if you struggle and you have to put in a lot of time and effort to build something, then later on you can go back and analyze the experience and do the same, except you wouldn't have to struggle, right? But so now these days, when other dentists feel stressed out about certain things, to me it's nothing. It's a normal thing, because I already been through it. I've done it, right? And I grew from a poor family in a poor condition, so nothing can stress me out. So I know you prepare some questions about the pandemic, but I actually enjoy my time off during the pandemic.
I'm hearing that a lot from dentists. They're like, man, I really did enjoy this time off. They kind of skip back to work, right?
Yes.
Well, hit a little bit. So your experience from growing, a practice or practices, and then, basically growing a business from right at a young age. What are some, and I guess just from talking to you, you're a big studier of marketing and marketers in general and how it works. But what are some tips you can kind of share? I won't say tricks because there's no such thing as a trick, but what are some tips that you can share regarding, opening your practice up after the COVID-19 shutdown, let's call it? What are some ways, doctors can start thinking about marketing? Maybe they should shift marketing, or what should they be doing to try to, because I know money's tight right now. So how can they get the most out of the marketing and maybe increase their patient flow?
Okay, so a lot of dentists, they are wasting a lot of money on marketing simply because they listen to the marketers. What do marketers do? They try to sell marketing services, right? Some are great out there. I have to say that some are great at what they do, but some are not. And most dentists, they just pay a lot of money on marketing without tracking the ROI. For example, if they were to have 20 new patients, right? And 15 of those new patients came from internal referral. So they only had 5 new patients that came from marketing, but most likely not even marketing. Most of them are probably came from insurance listing, right? But let's say 5 came from marketing, and they spent $5,000 on direct mails, websites, and everything else. $5,000, right? So each of those patients cost the practice $1,000 to bring into their practice. And most of them don't even realize that, but every month they're paying thousands and thousands of dollars without thinking of the ROI. Now, another thing that most don't think about is that when they put the message out there, right? Sometimes they don't differentiate themselves from other practices. Because sometimes I receive marketing materials from other dentists, and all of them look the same, okay? All of them have a list of services, phone number, address, an offer, okay? If you offer $39 for a cleaning exam and 5 other dentists offer the same thing or even cheaper, then how are patients gonna know to pick you, right? So they don't differentiate themselves. And then another thing is they don't have a lot of reviews and great rating on Google. Now, if you think about it, their marketing message or direct mails attract the new patients, and those new patients go on Google to look for directions, or they go on Google to check you out before they come in because they don't know anything about you yet. And then they go on Google and you have a 3.5 star rating, or even a 4.5 star rating. That's pretty high. When your competitors have 500 reviews with 4.9 star rating, and you have 25 with 4.5 star rating, which one do you think the patients that pick your practice from the marketing message or pieces that you send out gonna pick? Of course, the competitors, right? So many dentists rely on their marketers without thinking about the ROI and the process of the potential patient selecting a new dentist, because selecting a new dentist is a big deal, right? You know, they have to go in and pay a lot of money, endure the pain from all the painful shots, and have somebody put their hands in their mouth. It's a big deal. It's a personal thing. So the best thing that practice owners can do right now is make sure they inspire every patient and make sure they have the best experience possible when they come in for the treatment, from the front all the way to the back until they leave. That way they will come back. That way they will refer everyone that they know to your practice. And that can be their family members, coworkers, friends, and neighbors. A lot of people talk about the ROI, not the ROI, but the lifetime value of a patient. And that could be $2,000 or $3,000. But what practice owners need to think about is not just the lifetime value of that particular patient. Instead, they need to think about the referrals from that particular patient. That way they will spend more time, more effort, and communicate with that patient better, so that patient will refer 5 other patients to their practice. So become six new patients. 6 times 2 is $12,000 instead of $2,000. Yeah. So if they think about that, then they will invest more time, effort, and also money into that patient, and not just throwing a lot of money at random marketing to attract new patients into the practice.
One thing you said there that I absolutely love is your focus on that patient experience and making sure that you create those raving fans who are going to scream your name from the rooftop. And when I think about my relationship with my dentist, and I think, you know, in our conversations we've had in the past, a lot of that seems to come down to trust, you know, finding a doctor that you love and you trust. But, you know, getting that cold Google, you know, review, how do you kind of see the buildup of trust along that marketing road to the ultimate point where you deliver the service and they become those evangelizers of your practice? How do you build that trust along the way with those patients?
Okay, if you think about it, 99% of the practice owners have a great website, right? And they might repurpose some reviews on there, or they hire somebody to write really nice thing about themselves. And people know that those messages were written by you, right? But when you have, let's say 400 reviews written by patients that came to your practice, it's like 400 patients telling you that this is the place to go. It's different from you know, jumping up and down, say, come here, you know, we have the best dental office, we have the best team, we provide the best dental care. It's different. Yeah. And when you have, let's say 5 reviews, it's different from having 500 reviews. 5 reviews is like talking to 5 people. 500 reviews is like talking to 500 people. People these days, when they go on Amazon and they buy stuff on there, they base it mainly on reviews, and most don't even go to the website. So that's how we create trust. We get our own patients to share their experience and also their story on Google as well as Facebook and Nextdoor. So when other patients look for a dentist, they read those reviews and they come into our practice. Now, when they come in, we have to deliver what those patients are talking about on Google, because they said these guys are the most gentle dentists ever. Their shots don't hurt at all, and then new patients come in and they don't experience that great customer service, or when you numb them, they feel the excruciating pain, right? So you have to be consistent. So they read the reviews, they kind of trust you already. They come in, they experience the same thing that they read from the reviews. Right now, you have a patient that will come back and most likely will refer other patients to your practice. But what we also do in our practice is we create a referral generation system, so we can turn that passive referral into an active process. Because you know that when you ask someone to refer, you just hope that they would go out there and tell somebody about it, right? We actually create a system for them to take 20 seconds to share the endorsement through the text app on the phone or social media within 2 seconds. It's an active process to get referrals on a larger scale.
So dive into that a little deeper, because before we hopped on this, before we hit the record button on this, if you will, we were kind of talking, and Dr. Abernathy talks about this too, but trying in your practice to get at least where 50% of your new patients come from direct referrals. And we're tracking that with our clients every month, you know, what the net patient growth is. And when we're talking to dentists, a lot of times their question is, well, how do I get people to refer them to me? You know, first off, how do I track where they came from? And you do that through your practice management system, and you might share some suggestions too. But how does that doctor go about, instead of just asking them, how can they start implementing this system that you're talking about? Because it sounds perfect, right? To have 50% of my new patients come from referrals. How can they take what you're talking about one more step further and actually start doing it?
Yeah, so every dentist knows to ask for referral and review. The problem is most of them don't do it consistently, right? So it's more than asking. You know that patients have to have that great experience that they expect or didn't expect, and so a couple of things that practice owners can do to increase that referral percentage. One is to deliver great service with high quality care. Second thing is give them a call at the end of the day. Hey, Mrs. Joan, just want Dr. Ho here. Before I go home, I just want to give you a call to see how you're doing from your appointment today. I do that, and people get surprised that, oh wow, thank you so much for doing this, for checking up on me, because I know that you're busy, your time is valuable, right? So that's a marketing investment for me, and it's also, you know, because I care about my patients. I want to make sure that they are still doing well after a dental procedure. And then so most dentists do some of that, but in our practice we have a referral system where they come in, they experience everything that I just talked about, and if they pay for fluoride or sealant, which is about $39 to $50, they get a $90 toothbrush as a gift. Okay, as a gift. It's not an incentive that they have to refer to get a toothbrush, or right. So they get that, they pay for fluoride, which help them prevent cavity, and they get a gift. And then along with that gift, we say, you know, we would love it if you could share the same gift with some of your friends, family members, and co-workers. Would you do that for us? So they say yes, and then we give them 3 referral cards, right? And remember, on the referral cards, it's new patient gift by referral only, so it won't be like you trying to bribe them, right? And then after that, we said, we would really love it if you could share your experience with some of your friends and family members. Is it okay if we send you a referral text to share with some of your friends and family members? And of course, they can say yes again, and we send them a referral text from EnvisionStars, which pre-populate the verbiage and the business information for them to share. So they share through their text app or Facebook or Nextdoor, and at that point, you know, if they share on Facebook and they have thousands of people that follow them, then hundreds to thousands of people would see their personal endorsement. And as you know, there's no marketing out there that as effective and as impactful as personal endorsement.
So when you have these conversations regarding the texting specifically, at what level of your staffing do you like to see that occur?
We train our team all the time, just like management at the hotel training the team on customer service, right? I say, you got to do it. If they're happy with us, if they're great patients, then got to ask for referral, and ask for review as well. So we just train them on that. We don't give our patient incentives to write review or to refer at all. Remember, the toothbrush is as a gift for accepting or preventative care treatment, right? Yeah. And so we just train them. We have a system to track in the system that track like which team member send out the text and how many people click on the link. So we track all that. Basically, we created a system that we can track to produce consistent result, and not just just ask for referral, ask for review.
Yeah, I love that process. I mean, I'm a huge process guy, but I mean, with that EnvisionStars, that referral system, and you are doing everything and setting that referral up on a silver platter for that patient to basically just click the button. I mean, it's not difficult. It's very frictionless, and so I love it. But also in that product, is there more communication you do through that platform other than referrals, or is it pretty much a referral base? Build the referral network.
On top of the review and referral generation, we also built a business texting using the landline number, because with the landline number, our patients already have it saved on their phone, so they recognize our business, right? And so we are using the business texting to communicate with our patients these days, almost more than the phone, because in the past, we had our team members call our patients for recare appointments. And most of the time they would call 30, 40, 50 patients and only had about 5 or 10 people that answer the phone and only schedule about 10 appointments. Because these days people are working, they're busy, or they don't want to talk on the phone, right? But when you text them, almost all of them see the text and almost all of them respond to the text. So sometimes I see texts from our patients coming in late at night, early in the morning, because it's only text them 5-10 seconds versus a phone call. So we're using the business texting to engage with our customers right now. And we also have the web chat on our website that connects to the business texting. And after they put in the question or inquiry, it's also tapped into the text app. So we can communicate back and forth through texting. It's powerful stuff. It took me about 2 years to build a system. And when I introduced the system, not only to dentists, but businesses outside of dentistry, most of them sign up. A car dealership sign up, a massage envy location sign up. If they see it, it's a no-brainer, because marketing is just so expensive, and everything we do is basically so cheap that, but you know, like the reviews and referral will market for your practice and attract new patients or customers for months and years to come.
So let's kind of do a real quick, almost like case study. Let's walk through like a typical office that comes to see you. Let's say that they're struggling with that. Maybe they really don't have a good cadence of asking for those referrals, so they're sitting on a very low number, or you know, whatever the case may be. Walk us through what a typical relationship might look like for some of these practices that maybe struggle with getting those good online reviews.
You know, Dr. Apanati would say that you have to be marketable, which means patients have to like you, right? You can't expect patients to write great reviews for you when you hurt them or when they don't like you, or refer their friends and family members to see someone that they don't like. It's just doesn't make sense, right? So let me walk through a new patient process, so you can imagine how it works in our practice, right? So patient saw our advertisement message or read our reviews. They call our office, or secretary answer the phone, made them, you know, feel great, and they come in. We take them to the back to take X-rays. You know, ask them some personal questions real quick. Take X-rays. Our team member show them the X-rays and also the pictures of the teeth, right? So they can own their own problem. They can see it, so they won't have to believe us. So after that, we go into a room. The team member does the handoff, mention a couple personal thing about the patients, and go over the pictures and X-rays again, and then we just confirm what we see, or we recommend what they need, and then we simply ask them, you know, do you feel informed of what you need? And they're gonna say yes, or they're going to ask questions, right? Then after that, we say, do you have any more questions? And then we show them the pictures and everything else again. And then I tell them, this is our practice. It's a private practice. We're gonna take great care of you. A lot of our patients are referred by other patients. So we're gonna take great care of you. That's pretty much it, you know. So they own their own problem. They trust us because they see what they have. I don't convince them of anything, right? We just ask them, what would you like us to do for you? And we tell them what we would like to do in our practice, right? So I say, typically I like to do everything that you have. But if you have a lot, then I focus on half of the mouth first. But if you have a lot for half of the mouth, then we do a quadrant first. That way they won't say, I want to start with the filling first. I want to start with the extraction first. If you let them dictate what you what you want to do, then maybe the appointments will, you only make a couple, like $150, and it's not even enough to pay your overhead. And it has to be a win-win, right? And if you think about it, we are the best people to tell patients what to do, not the patients. And when I first graduated from dental school and opened my dental practice, I let my patient tell me what they would like me to do. Yeah. And it wasn't a good thing, because sometimes they just say, let's start on extracting first when, or one extraction when they have 3-4 other teeth next to that bad tooth that need to be taken out as well. So basically you have to take control of the whole process, and make sure your patient own their own problem. Make sure you do it in a way that they will like and trust you. That's the main thing. And after that, they can compare you with other dentists, right? And especially you are more thorough, and they feel like, like they trust you. I have so many patients that came to us after they had gone to other dentists for first, second, third opinions. They came to our practice and they accept our treatment plan simply because we walk them through the process, and they own their own problem, and they want to have their own problem treated versus us trying to sell them our solution.
Yeah, you hit on on the business texting side of this. I mean, to me, I'm just sitting like literally thinking about this week in my own experience, trying to get, a contractor or something to do something at my house. We're corresponding back and forth by phone. And I got a voicemail and let it go to voicemail because I was busy. And it took me 3 or 4 days to respond because voicemails build up, right? Because nobody calls anymore.
Right.
But another contractor texted and he got the job because I thought he got back to me quicker, but actually he was behind, but I just didn't see it because the other guy called. So putting that, everybody texts. So businesses need to start texting if you're not doing that already. One thing I want to hit on too, so you talk about the EnvisionStars product, and we haven't talked about what the exact pricing, but I know you said it's kind of a minimal investment, but it has such an impact, especially with the referrals and the Google reviews. Where do you see, as a dentist out there listening, they're probably thinking about what they do for marketing. Where are you seeing dentists putting so much of their marketing where they're just wasting so much money? There's no ROI on it. Where do you see most dentists doing that?
They are doing a lot of direct mails and paying a couple $1,000s for a website and $400 or $500 to maintain the website. After you have the website built, there's not much to do, right? And they are paying a lot of money on SEO. SEO is basically to bump your website up to the top along with other websites, right? But these days, people will more likely to click on the reviews, to read reviews from other patients than to actually click on the website. Website is just for information only, right? But on the Google listing, they have the information there already as well, right? Phone number, address, and basically the directions. So the marketing is still necessary. But I think most practice owners need to build the fertile ground before they plant the tree on top of it. And marketing is just a message to get that tree, and then you have to have the ground for the tree to grow on. So that's where I see where people spend a lot of money on. They basically give couple $1,000s to the marketers and they don't think about it. That's the thing. They need to be thinking about it, see where the ROI is and what else they can do to maximize the return on that marketing dollars, right? So they get the patients in their mind. They need to think about, how can I get this patient to stay as a patient for life? How can I get this patient to refer Jared, Bill, and their friends, their neighbors to the practice, right? And if they think of it on a larger scale, they would try to get them to share their experience on social media, because one share could could lead to a couple hundred people seeing it versus just one or two person. So they need to think about all that to maximize the marketing dollars if they were to spend money on marketing.
It almost feels like practice owners need to self-diagnose themselves on their patient experience to see, am I worth somebody climbing up on a rooftop and screaming my name out to every person that can hear on social media or wherever? And if they're not, then maybe they're not ready for that, for this kind of thing. I mean, really, you need to take stock. Are we providing that premier patient experience that's the best in town? And then when you're hearing those comments about how great the experience was, then it's time, if you're not getting those kind of Google reviews at that point, maybe it's time to really look at something like EnvisionStars to try to help automate a process that's probably inefficient in your practice.
Yes. I take marketing, reputation marketing to another level by getting patients to write well-written, authentic reviews about their experience, because not every review is the same. If you were to get a lot of 5-star reviews with no comments or with general comments, it's not the same as one well-written reviews shared by a patient with the experience and story from our practice. That kind of review is much more powerful than having a whole bunch of reviews with no comments or with general comments, because people go online to read reviews and not just to look at the stars. If they were to want to look at the stars, they would look into the sky for that.
Hit on this real fast, and this is maybe a curveball, but it'll be a mild break here. So not all reviews are good, right? So every once in a while, you're going to get a bad review, and I'm sure a lot of listeners out there have probably gotten one. What's your recommendation to dentists on how, if they do get one, and you always get one, how do you respond to it? How do you address it?
All my practice, even though I'm very good at getting reviews, and we deliver great customer service and patient experience, but once in a while we do get 1 or 2 bad reviews as well, right? That's why our rating is 4.9 instead of 5.0, and I kind of like that because it's more real than the 5.0, right? The best way is to respond to a review is to be neutral. But before we respond to the reviews, I would encourage practice owners, if they were to get a bad review, is to call the patients to clear up the miscommunication before they go online to answer the review or to argue with that patient online. It's to talk to the patient. Most of the time, people left a bad review because of miscommunication, right? Like, okay, I went to the appointment and I had to wait 15 minutes, but they didn't know that the doctor was behind, or maybe the doctor was trying to help a patient with excruciating pain, or maybe the doctor's wife had a baby and had to run home, whatever, right? So sometimes they don't know about the circumstances that led to the doctor being late. So call the patients, and most of the time, I've done this before. When I call a patient, some of them either delete their reviews or they turn the 1-star review to a 5-star review. And for the ones that didn't answer the phone or wouldn't change the review, then you can respond to it with the general comments, right? I'm sorry you had a bad experience. We deliver high quality care here. Please call our office so we can straighten it out, or something, so we can talk about it. But the best way to drown down that negative review is to get a lot more positive reviews and push it down, because there's no response that can balance that review out, because bad review is there for people to read, right? And if you argue with that bad review, then the other person can respond to that, to your response, and it leads to something worse than just a bad review. So call the patients, get a lot of positive reviews, because with our current practice has 478 8 reviews now. So if we were to get another 10 bad reviews, it wouldn't affect the rating at all. It's still going to be 4.9.
Yeah.
So just get a lot of great reviews.
So when you look at a typical practice, I mean, I got to assume they're leaving a lot of public goodwill on the table by not having, you know, their team that are their patients, you know, sing their praises, which a lot of them feel that way. They just probably have never been given a very pinpointed opportunity to go out and have that. So, you know, kind of tell us when you start working with the practice, do you tend to find that they're completely underutilizing that, and that through EnvisionStars they're able to really see a pretty large increase in those numbers of reviews that people are willing to put out there?
Absolutely. Most practices, they do take great care of their patients.
Yeah.
Right. But most don't get a lot of reviews because patients simply won't write the reviews because they would have to go over hurdles to write those reviews. And I know that because before I developed EnvisionStars, there were times that I would send out 500 emails to ask for reviews from satisfied patients. And most of the time, none of them would write us a review. And oftentimes when we ask them to leave us a review and get them to promise to write us a review when they get home, most of the time they say yes, but they still wouldn't do it. So that's why we developed EnvisionStars to simplify the process for them to do, right? We send them a text, I click on a link, text them straight to the Google review page to write their review. But when they sign up with EnvisionStars, I coach them. We have video that they can watch to get authentic, well-written reviews and not just review. So practice owners, they know that sometimes they get frustrated because they know their patient like them, but they don't write reviews for them, or when they ask and they don't get the result. So over time, they just give up on the process. Yeah. But what they need to know is you have to simplify the process for your patient to write reviews and refer to your practice.
Yeah, that's the beauty of this product, is the simplification and creating that frictionless environment to allow them to do that. If viewers out there are listening right now, so they've heard about EnvisionStars, they hear how it works. Do you do demos, free trials, or anything like that, so somebody can kind of see in action how it works, or how's it work?
You know, I'm passionate about EnvisionStars to help business owners to be able to get more patients and grow their practice without wasting a lot of money, because we know dentists, we are bending our back, twisting our neck to serve our patients. It's hard work, right? And some practices, Dr. Abinati probably share this with you, or you probably see your numbers, but some practices, the overhead is very high, like 70, 80, 90%. So my passion is to help dentists to attract new patients and grow their business without having to spend a lot of money. So that's why I developed EnvisionStars, and we don't charge a lot. You know, right now we have 5 products, and we're only charging $149 a month. You know, no marketing out there going to cost that much, right? Not even the door hangers that you pay for. So just $149 a month. And the good thing is I'm also a practice owner, so I know how it works, and I'm fine tuning the process to get the best result for practice owners out there as well. Instead of, you know, just someone developing a tool for practice owner to use, I'm actually trying to optimize it as I develop the product.
That's awesome. Let's end it on this one, Dr. Ho. We always like to ask this question at the end. So what's the number one thing dental practice owners right now need to be doing in their business to try to create that momentum to get them to the practice they deserve?
The number one thing I think practice owners need to create right now, or do right now, is to focus on their existing patients, impress them, inspire them in a way that they will accept whatever they propose as far as treatment plan, in a way that they will go out there and tell their friends and family members, coworkers, everybody they know about your practice, because that's the best marketing there is, right? It's free. You don't have to spend any money at all. But when you focus on the existing patients and deliver the highest care and the best customer service possible, then you create a culture in a practice for patients to refer other patients. And you also create a culture for your team to try their best to deliver that patient experience that you want every patient to have when they come into your dental practice. So I think that's the number one thing that every practice owner should do, because it's easy. It's already in their practice, in the four walls of their practice. There are no competitors. They can do whatever they want, right? But outside of that, they have to think about the message very carefully. They have to think about the offer and how can you make it better than the competitors and all. But inside your office, you can do whatever you want. So I would focus on the existing customers and try to impress them to generate more referrals, get more reviews, produce more per appointment. Because these days, it's not a good idea to have a full room of patients waiting in the reception room. So now you have to do more for each patient, and that's a win-win as well. So each patient won't have to, come back 4 or 5 times for 10, 20 fillings. You can do 10, 20 fillings in one appointment setting. So that's what I would do.
That's awesome. Dr. Ho, we appreciate it. Let the viewers know if they're interested in EnvisionStars or want to reach out and get in touch with you. Let us know, give us some contact info so they can reach out.
My email is contact@EnvisionStars.com. They can also message me on Facebook, or they can just let you guys know, and just let me know. Maybe I can offer a great deal for your followers, right? So just email me or message me on Facebook, or you know what, because I trust both of you guys so much, and this interview also came from a referral, right, from Dr. Apanati. So have them call my cell phone. I'll be happy to give them some strategies and tips to grow the practice, on top of getting reviews and referrals and using the software, right? So my cell phone number is 817-501-8060. 817-501-8060. Call me, and I might not answer because I'm still practicing dentistry, but I will call you back or text you.
Probably be best to text him then, right? Text him, right?
That's right.
That's awesome. Well, that's very gracious of you to give out your cell phone number, Dr. Ho. We appreciate your time. As you guys can tell, this gentleman is a true, I'll say, visionary. I mean, he's thinking, always forward thinking, always moving, never stops thinking about his practice and helping dental practice owners get better as well. So I will say, we've been talking about reviews today. I will say to all you viewers out there, if you liked what you listened to, please share a review for us, share it with your friends. And then if you haven't yet, subscribe to the podcast on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or whatever platform you're listening on today. So Dr. Ho, again, appreciate the time. Great insight. Bill, you as well. Appreciate the insight too. And everybody out there, have a great week, and we'll talk soon. We'll see you.